This week, let's do something a little bit different and a little fun. Let's take a look at some shots by one of the greatest shot makers ever in the history of straight pool. And of course, I'm talking about John Schmidt. John Schmidt was recently in Calgary, and he spent several days, hours on end, playing straight pool and live streamed it to YouTube. But this week, let's take a look at some amazing shots by John Schmidt. Welcome to this week's Rack of the Week. The first shot is a break shot, and John has less than an optimal angle, as we say, but you're not always going to get the perfect break shot, and John's on a run of 156. I'm sure he'd like to keep this run going. Now, this break shot needs to be struck with a lot of force, and that makes the pocket really tight. If you contact this point on the near side or too much of this facing on this side, it's going to rattle and not go in at the speed he's going to hit it. The other thing I want to look at is here's the shot line to the pocket. So here's the tangent line. And what this means is that the focus on their camera just went out. They had that issue. What this means is that with a stun shot, the cue ball should go in this direction and hit the rack. But John knows that he can hit it a little bit above center. In other words, he wants a little bit of forward rotation on the cue ball. Normally that would make the cue ball go forward. It might even take a curving path forward like this. But at the speed he's going to hit it, that cue ball is going to stay on the tangent line for longer. And so he's going to chat about it a little bit and say, oh, gee, I wish it was here. That'd be a much better break shot. But watch the cue ball when it contacts the rack and watch how much spin it has. I'm predicting it's going to hit this 13 ball. Let's see which ball it hits. Notice he's just a little bit above center. Yeah, it hit the 13. And I would say, well, it didn't have a lot of forward rotation, but the cue ball definitely curved forward off that and came straight back up table, and for a great result on this break shot. This next shot is not a power shot, but it's an example of the vision and the control that John has. And he's specifically playing position for this angle on the one ball. You notice he doesn't have a break shot. He calls this shot. He's actually trying to hit the face of this 11 to bounce it straight out here for a break shot. Watch how well he does. That was exactly on purpose. Now, that was a cluster opening shot, but he was specifically attempting to make a break ball. That's the kind of genius and control that John was exhibiting all week. John has a slight angle on this break shot, and you might see Thorsten Homan power draw this up table, but watch the draw stroke that John puts on this. Kind of a delay draw. The draw slows the cue ball down, and he doesn't have to pound it to open up the rack. Watch the cue ball closely. The cue ball went forward, then backed up, and kept it well under control, and it never hit a rail. I don't know how he did that. I'm going to ask him when I see him in a few weeks, and I'll let you know. Here's a power shot with a bridge. This is immediately after a break shot, and John, unfortunately, doesn't really have a shot except for a backwards cut using a bridge. Now, he's put the extension on his cue, and he's considering shooting it with a normal underhanded stroke, but he changes to a standard bridge stroke. This is a backwards cut with no English. Watch. That object ball went into the center of the pocket, and he opened a bit of a cluster. What a shot. Here's a real typical break shot. It's an inside angle, and it's the type of shot that you just use a straight high ball on. Most often, you'll see the cue ball strike the rack, curve to the bottom rail and up, sometimes to the side rail and up. And this is a very common break shot. We saw this break shot about 45 times during Jason Shaw's 714 ball run. We see Thorsten Homan shoot this type of break shot all the time. There are occasions when the cue ball actually catches the rack ball, and he's going to catch this 4 ball full. And there's a real good reason why you want to shoot this with a high ball. Watch the cue ball. Watch the cue ball closely. It's going to hit that 4 ball. How did the cue ball get on the other side of the rack? It's because the cue ball hit that 4 ball square in the nose, full, which means it just bounces straight backwards. And then that high English grabs it and it curved right around the rack. We're going to see more examples of that same cue ball behavior on some more break shots coming up. Here's an unfortunate result after a break shot. Look at what John's looking at. Can you tell what he's looking at? He has two options. One is a extremely difficult back cut of the 14 ball into the side pocket here, or he could cut the 15 ball into this side pocket. But he chooses a different shot. Triple backwards combination into the corner pocket. There's no controlling the cue ball here. Just hit it and hope. What a shot. Here John has a below the rack break shot, but it's a bad angle. The 13 ball is on the near side of the rack. Now I'm going to ask him about this, but I'm reasonably certain he does this on purpose. The cue ball jumped over the rack. I think he was on purpose trying to elevate the cue ball so it would jump into the top of the rack to keep it from scratching in one of these bottom corner pockets. This is soon after a break shot, and when I look at this situation, what I see is there's a little bit, these balls are kind of tied up, and what I'd like to do is shoot this orange ball and, I don't know, go forward or draw back. Probably go forward like this. I don't think I would want to run into the balls, although you could, but I want to get an angle on this 12 so that I can draw back and come into the rack this way. John thinks differently, and he called this shot. Yeah, he's lining it up right here. He called this shot. He is playing a carom hard to send this ball into the cluster to open it up and playing position with the cue ball at the same time. Look at the cue ball slow down for how hard he hit it. That was intended just that way. John played a great shot, but unfortunately got a bad roll. He really doesn't have a shot here. He can just barely see enough of the one to cut it all the way up into this corner pocket. Now I'm going to ask you, if you're elevated over the 7 ball, trying to cut in this 1 ball and play position on something else, how would you hit this shot? Well, take a look at how John handles it. I want you to count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and see how long it takes for this 1 ball to get to the corner pocket. It took it about 3 seconds. Can you slow roll that ball? And he got positioned on the stripe or the 1 ball. Amazing shot. John misplayed his position in this end pattern. Obviously, this is the break ball. And I'll tell you what I would do in this situation. I would cut this stripe in this pocket. And I think you can go tight in this corner and play 3-rail position below this 15. You might end up straight in, but you'll probably get some kind of an angle that you can shoot the 15 in the upper corner and come out here to shoot your break shot. But John sees things a little bit differently. And I'm sure he considered that option, but he knows what he has to do. Watch this. He's channeling Efren Reyes here, I think. I mean, that would have gone in on a table with tighter pockets. And the cue ball went across the table just far enough. He hit it with just the right speed to still get a real good shot on this stripe ball to get on his break ball. That's an incredible shot. Can you see what's coming? Here's another hook and loop. Watch the cue ball. Same thing. It hit that 15, backed up, and then went straight forward again. There's hardly 2 balls touching. Great shot. Quick, tell me where you think the cue ball is going to stop after this break shot. And then watch it and see how wrong you are. It backed up and looped completely around the rack in front of the opposite corner pocket. Amazing. Here's a back cut break shot. Look at how sharp the angle is and how close the object ball is to the pack. Ask yourself, how would you address this cue ball? I would shoot it with just a center ball, maybe some low on the cue ball, and I'm hoping to draw the cue ball back to the side rail, and I would hit this with a medium firm stroke. But really, this is such a thin cut. Watch what John does. I was surprised by this. I think he just pointed to the close side of the pocket. In other words, he's okay with overcutting this. It's still going to go in, but watch the cue ball. How about a soft draw? In other words, knowing how much the rack's going to open because most of the energy of the shot is still going to be in the cue ball, he knew he didn't have to overpower it. I think that comes with a lot of experience, and I'm going to practice that the next time I'm at the table. That's a genius shot. Here's another hook and loop break shot, and this one's a little different. It's a slight angle on the ball, and you wouldn't expect this behavior from the cue ball. And I'm thinking that the key to this shot isn't that you hit it real hard. Look how high on the cue ball he's aiming with a real smooth stroke. Look at the cue ball hook back. After it backed up, it really hooked forward and then didn't go much farther. What a shot. What a stroke. Here's two tough shots back to back. John has no real shot. He has to cut this 10 ball backwards, and he's hoping for the cue ball to go forward off the pack and give him a shot. He didn't get one. So what do you do now? That was a great back cut into this upper pocket. Notice he didn't try to do too much. He didn't try to slam into the rack real hard, making this pocket smaller. So really what I see, he has two carom shots. The 6 ball can be cut this way and carom off the 13, or the 2 can carom off this 11 in the side. He's chosen the 11 ball. He's lined up the shot, and he's going to go look at it again. So watch where he cues this. He's aiming almost straight at the 2 ball with low on the cue ball to get the 2 to go a little forward on that carom. Great shot. Here, John's just doing a little showing off. If you win the lag and get the break shot in a game of straight pool, you could try this. Just bank that corner ball 1 rail back and then just go from there. By the way, there's another player who recently made that shot. Here's some tall guy, and he's calling the 3 ball, this corner ball of the rack, 1 rail back in this corner pocket. Huh, must be an easy shot. John got too straight on his key ball here, so what do? How do you get positioned on that 3 ball break shot? How about just drawing the cue ball 3 rails around the table? Not bad, huh? Watch John, he jokes that he was trying to get here. And finally, I saved the best shot for last. Watch the stroke on this shot. I fooled you. I saved the best shot for last. It was that 3 rail draw shot we just saw. I want to say thank you to John Schmidt for a master class in straight pool. Do go over to Q Sports Live on YouTube and Facebook. Thank them for hosting John Schmidt and for making the stream available to us. And hopefully we'll get to see more of that in the future. Thanks for watching. See you next week on Rack of the Week.